Hi guys, I'm Dr. Samantha Bolt, and today we're going to be talking about 10 ways to start improving your hormone health now. And I work with a lot of patients with their hormones, and I kind of put together these 10 somewhat basic things that we should all be doing for our hormones to be in more balance, to be healthier, to receive themselves at the cell appropriately. So all these different things are going to basically improve the communication of our hormones and our hormone health in general. Now, if you haven't seen our intro video, I would strongly recommend going back and watching that because we're going to talk about, basically I broke it down into those different categories today of how we diagnose hormones in functional medicine. And we're going to hit each of those categories when going through it to make sure that we're kind of going through something in each of those categories when we're talking about our hormone health. Now, the other thing that I want to put out here as well is that a lot of patients want these changes to happen immediately. So if they make change in their life, they want a change in their health within that week. And sometimes we get lucky and that happens. But with the things that I'm telling you today, usually I tell patients we want to see you doing a few of these things, at least a few of these things, for 6 to 8 weeks to start really getting those health benefits, right? Our body took a while to get where it is. It's going to take just a little bit to get out of that as well. But usually 6 to 8 weeks in, that's where we start really seeing those changes. So let's get into this. All right, 10 things to start doing now. So in the first category, communication. All right, and communication is again more about our nervous system and our endocrine system, hormones, and how the brain is talking to the rest of the body and how it's sending out hormones to talk to the rest of the body as well. So two of my favorite things in this are breathing exercises and getting a seasonal affective disorder light. So breathing exercises, basically, we want to be shifting our nervous system from this fight and flight, this sympathetic mode, into this rest and digest parasympathetic mode. When we are in our rest and digest mode, right, we heal so much faster. Our body does everything it's supposed to do a lot faster. When we're over in fight or flight, that's when we kind of don't have time. Our body's too busy running from this invisible tiger, right, in order to do the things that it's supposed to do. Breathing exercises use that diaphragm, and that diaphragm is one of the few muscles that really is integrated into that parasympathetic system. So by utilizing it, we kind of force ourselves to start shifting over into this more parasympathetic mindset. My favorite one is box breathing. That's kind of like breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, holding for 4. Because you're counting, it doesn't give you as much time to think about that to-do list that you need to do. And that's one of the hardest things when we're doing some of these breathing exercises, meditation, right, is kind of being able to clear our head at least from that to-do list. So I do like the counting aspect there. The seasonal affective disorder light. And then again, being careful with lights at night as well. So I love seasonal affective disorder lights, especially for most women, most men as well. We're supposed to be outside in that frequency of light a lot more than what most of us are. And that light frequency does a lot. That light hitting our eyes then goes into our brain and causes this whole cascade of events to happen. When we don't get that light frequency, our health falls apart. So usually with those seasonal affective disorder lights, I'm trying to get patients to use them for at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, while also getting outside a little bit throughout the day too, so that we're getting just more light into the system in general. And then being careful with lights at night, because if we're keeping them on at night, right, and then not having them during the day, our whole circadian rhythm gets thrown off. And this is more important than just sleep. Circadian rhythm doesn't have to do with just melatonin, with just cortisol levels. We're going to change insulin. We have all these different hormones that change based on when we're asleep and when we're awake. So we want to be very careful with what those lights are doing. Moving into our next category, assimilation. So assimilation is, again, typically more digestion. Is how healthy is our digestive tract? Are we able to properly absorb nutrients? Is our gut lining strong enough to keep bad stuff out? So the first one is eat more vegetables. Again, a nice easy one, right? We all know we're supposed to do this. It's actually just putting it into to play. So I always have on here white potatoes, corn, peas, don't count. But the vegetables that I love eating, cruciferous. Cruciferous vegetables are so helpful to so many hormonal issues. They've got multiple ingredients that other vegetables don't have. So broccoli sprouts is a great one. But broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage. Now it's going to be more potent raw, but you're going to get some of that when it's cooked as well. More vegetables. I'm trying to get patients to a good 4 servings a day. That's a half cup, definitely 4 servings a day, usually trying to get closer to 6 servings a day. Chew more, like a lot more. Most of us, right, don't chew very much. And when we're not chewing, we're causing the rest of our digestive tract to have to do a lot more work. That chewing not only allows us time to fill up more appropriately and start sending these different hormone signals to our stomach, to the beginning of our digestive tract, that we're kind of filling up, that we're full, but it also releases amylase, basically this enzyme in the mouth that starts breaking down some of our food. So we want to make sure that we have that chewing, again, to start sending this whole cascade of signals to the rest of the body to say, hey, we're starting to eat. Everything else along this line should turn on as well. Biotransformation and elimination. So detoxification, right? The big one here is drink water. I can't tell you how many patients I have come in here that just don't drink enough water. Some of them are only on 20 ounces of plain water a day. And then they're on sodas, they're on coffee, but I am not counting those liquids as our plain water. So typically for most patients, if they're coming in to see me, one of the first things we're going to do is say, okay, we need your plain water to basically get up over 60 ounces. And with most patients, I'm saying over 80 ounces. It's going to help hydrate our system, flush out our system, allow the system, the cells to get waste out and move it along appropriately. Transport. Transport more has to do with oxygen, with blood flow, and basically the one I have here is breathing through your nose. We are finding more and more that our breathing patterns are one of the main things contributing to health, chronic health issues. That if we don't breathe appropriately, it starts changing a lot of other pieces in our body. So we are supposed to be breathing through our nose. And a lot of us become more mouth breathers, especially when exercising and especially when sleeping, right? So if we're doing it while sleeping, we've got 6 to 9 hours there that we're doing all this mouth breathing that we shouldn't be doing. So I like to start training this throughout the day. Try to start catching yourself and go, okay, am I breathing through my mouth or am I breathing through my nose? And it's a great exercise to do it when working out, because that's when most of us start breathing through our mouth more, right? We're working harder. It's easier to do that. But if we continue to train breathing through our nose while working out, it becomes easier and easier also while we're sleeping to keep that same pattern. Now there's something known as mouth tape too. You can get mouth tape. You can basically, it's lightly placed on your mouth so that it forces you a little bit more to have to breathe through your nose. And I've used that with some patients as well. Energy. So we're talking about mitochondria. Mitochondria are basically our energy producers, right? So they are there to create energy so that we can do all these different reactions in our body. And I get a lot of patients coming in thinking that they're going to have a thyroid problem. And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of patients with thyroid issues and we always want to do a good check on the thyroid. But a lot of the times it's not their thyroid. We're coming more into this mitochondrial issue that we're not creating the energy for these reactions to happen. So not only are they feeling more fatigued, but all these other processes are not working as well as they should in the system either. So cold showers, although no one likes this to hear me say this one typically, but cold showers are a great way to increase mitochondriogenesis, mitochondria creation, right? Is to get more of them to get created. I usually start patients with about 30 seconds at the very end of their shower. And if they can get to 30 seconds, and I don't say you have to, do ice water immediately, just go to the coldest temperature you can handle and do that for 30 seconds and slowly work yourself up to about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. We have seen some great results when utilizing this. All right, defense and repair. So this is more autoimmunity, or immune system, I should say, and inflammation. So one of my favorite things is talking about blood sugar dysregulation, because if our blood sugar isn't regulated, we are going to very quickly start having more inflammatory disorders and more immune system disorders. So with most patients, again, I'm saying make breakfast about vegetables and fats. We're going to save the carbs for lunch or later if we really add them in at all. But no matter what, even if you switch those carbs from breakfast, because we have the worst breakfast, right? We are eating donuts, bagels. I mean, all this stuff is coming in that just muffins, right? I mean, none of this stuff is healthy. Pancakes, waffles, cereal. We just should not be eating these things, and especially not in the morning when we're first breaking our fast. If we put something sugary and carb into us, the very first thing, when we don't have anything else in our digestive tract, what is that going to do to our blood sugar? It is going to skyrocket our blood sugar. And now we're spending the rest of this day, our day, on this blood sugar roller coaster, trying to figure out how to get it back to like mid-level. If we start with vegetable fibers and some healthy fats, I usually say, healthy meats, eggs, avocado, avocado, nuts, coconut, all these different things, right, can get some healthy fat into our system. Then when we do put carbs in later, we're not going to skyrocket that blood sugar. It's going to go up, but not nearly as much as when it's the first and only thing in our system. Integrity. So last one here is the integrity one. And integrity more is about the musculoskeletal system, muscle, our fascia, basically connecting everything throughout of it. And we need this to be healthy as well in order to pull on the organs appropriately, decrease pain receptors. So one of the two things that I like here is move without over moving. So we definitely want to move, right? We've got to get up and go. Usually 30 minutes of cardio 3 to 4 times a week, and then 2 days of weightlifting is a great plan to put forth for most people, not everybody. But I also get a lot of patients on the opposite end of the spectrum that way over move. They're doing HIIT classes 5-6 days a week, plus a few other exercises and stuff on top of that, and that can be too much for the body. Now, when it comes back to blood sugar dysregulation, that bonus there, always move for 5 minutes after finishing a meal. That's going to help blood sugar dysregulation, even if you just stand and walk around. But some of it can be doing the dishes pretty much immediately after you stop eating. Some of it can be doing little arm punches in the air. It doesn't have to be much. Just move. And then finally, the other one I like is body therapy. Acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, physical therapy, whatever that is, that's going to be helpful in order to regulate that whole musculoskeletal system and the integrity of our body. So those are 10 things that a lot of us know, but we don't always put them into practice. So I encourage you to basically pick one each week over the next 10 weeks and add a new one in each week and see how you do with it. Hopefully compounding so that these start becoming habits and habits stacked on top of each other. But even if you just try one out for each week and see how you do with it, see how easy it is to implement into your life, if you continue to keep these up, because that's the key, right, is staying consistent with these things, you are going to notice differences in your health and especially in your hormone health. All right, thanks you guys. And then next time we are going to be talking a little bit more about the Dutch test and how to test for hormones with the Dutch test, how that differs from blood testing. All right, bye.